is Rebbe Kefa Ben Yah, and welcome to another edition of the Lion's Den. Again, I'd like to welcome my esteemed guest, Kohen, Rebbe Simon Altav, from sunny Pensacola, Florida. Welcome, Rebbe Simon.
Thank you very much for inviting me for
So,
this festival time.
always lovely to have you.
Sure.
Now, the reason why he's here is just what the discussion is about, the reason why he's here. So I think it's important for us to understand, and for all of you groups out here, you need to understand that Rabbi Simon Altav, like I said in the introduction, is a Kohen. He's a priest. He is not the mamby-pamby, crackerjack ones that, you pulling stuff out of the box and you're saying, oh, today I'll be a priest, and then tomorrow you're going to be a king, and then the next day you're going to be a high priest. You see, you must cut all this out, because what you're doing is really putting yourself in a bad situation with the heavens. Is these roles that we just named off all have responsibilities. And today I want to hone in on the key responsibilities and the role of a Kohen. What is the role of a priest? Everybody calls himself a priest, but how many meet and hold up to the standards of a priest, Rebbe Simon, out there?
Not many out there, because a lot of people say they're a Kohanim or from the Kohanim, and many of them don't even know what Torah is. They're still stuck in Christianity. So a Kohen's role is to establish Torah in the gates, and throughout the gates of that country, that city, he's supposed to sound the horn for the Torah, for the shofar, to ask people to turn back to the God of Israel. So we read in Deuteronomy 21:5 that it says, Devarim 21:5 says, and the Kohanim, the sons of Levi, shall come near, for them Yahweh of power has chosen to speak to him. So who has been chosen to speak to who? We have been chosen to be representatives of the God of Israel. We are the ones who are supposed to speak to him, and then we are to convey that information to the Joe public of Israel. In other words, those people that call themselves Israelites. Now, it's not like every Tom, Dick and Harry can just get up and start talking to God, because everybody can claim, oh, God speaks to me in a dream, God speaks to me in a vision. How many are those really true? So whilst for us as Kohanim, we don't have an inheritance in the land of Israel. Yes, we'll get cities of the Kohanim in the future, like we did in the past. We're supposed to get 42 cities from the king of Israel. When that third temple is going to be established, we're supposed to get 42 cities plus 6 cities of refuge. That makes 48 cities of the Kohanim. Now today we don't have no cities as such in Israel, and we don't even have a third temple. So therefore our role primarily in the diaspora is to lift up the banner of Torah. Hence why when people have a need, they have to come to the Kohen. Well, what kind of need, you may say? Well, if we have a firstborn son born through the normal process of a woman giving birth, then that firstborn son is supposed to have a Pidya Haben. A Pidya Haben is a redemption of the child. That has to be taken to the Kohen. Nobody else can do that. So 5 shekels of silver, or equivalent value, which is about $90, you're supposed to come to the Kohen and say to the Kohen, I need my Pidya Haben done for my son. And so the Kohen has to do the process and do the process that's been commanded us by the God of Israel to make that son legitimate in the eyes of the Most High. Now, many of you don't even know what that means. Many people don't understand that, and they're just running around after Christianity, Islam, and every Tom, Dick and Harry religion out there. So therefore, no other person has a right to do that. Then we also have, many controversies can arise within our gates, in our cities. So the Torah tells us that, it says that in Deuteronomy chapters 19-17, that both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before Yahweh, before the Kohanim and the judges, which shall be in those days. What are those days? 2014, 2015, 2016, any future time period. That you're supposed to come to the Kohen and say, we have this problem, we don't know how to deal with this, can you help us? Just like Moses. Moses' job wasn't just as a rescuer of Israel. He was he was also a judge of Israel, as a stroke king of Israel. So therefore, everybody queued up to go see Moses for controversies they didn't know how to resolve. Same way today, you're to take your controversies to a Kohen. You can't just take your controversies to, to John Hagee in San Antonio, or to some other pastor, T.D. Jakes. This is not a done method, because those guys are Gentiles running their Gentile religious systems. But you're supposed to go to a Kohen who's Torah observant, who keeps the festivals, who upholds the Torah. That's who you're supposed to go to. And that's a person who has ears close to God. In other words, God speaks to the Kohen. He's supposed to, he must, because that's what he said, I will do.
Well, what about Rabbi Simon? Like, we're dealing with some of you who may be listening to this YouTube video right now, and you're saying, well, the Kohanim are done away with. And matter of fact, we don't even have to listen to the Kohen anyway because we don't have a temple. And minus that fact is that we're in the land. We're not in the land, so we can just do whatever we want until the Most High returns. What's your response to that?
My response to that is this, that the order of the God of Israel is forever. There is no such thing as a temporal order. So the order is forever and the Kohanim are forever. Wherever God has put them, they will be called back into the contracts and they will serve the God of Israel. The same way I was called back from Islam, God will call back every Kohen one by one and they'll come out. So therefore this idea that Christianity has fed the people, which is a total lie and falsehood, that Kohanim are no longer important, they're actually very important. Because without the Kohanim, you can't move an inch. Now, a lot of people envisage and they desire just to sell their houses and go back into the land of Israel. Well, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to do it like that? Are you supposed to just sell your house, pack up your job and go to the land of Israel? Or are you supposed to be led by the Kohanim? So the way you're supposed to follow is the ancient patterns. The ancient patterns was the Kohanim put their feet first in the land. Then you follow them. Now until that happens, anybody that goes into the land to live there is absolutely foolish. It's absolutely wrong and foolish to just go there because all he's going to get is a second, a third, maybe a fourth class status.
Indeed.
So this is what's happening with the people. They're thinking, they're jumping ahead of the gun, they're selling their homes, going to the land, and then they find there's no employment, they can't survive, and then they're like on handouts.
Right.
And so that's not the idea of the God of Israel.
Yeah, that's very well put, Rabbi Simon, and very true, as we've been witness to it on the ground there in Israel ourselves.
Yeah.
Very well said.
So this is the thing. So the Kohanim's contract is forever. It's an everlasting contract, just like circumcision is everlasting. Without circumcision, you can't become a proselyte in the gate. You can't become a convert. You can't even become a revert back to a Hebrew faith. So therefore, if that is important, how much more so the Kohen?
Indeed.
Without the Kohen, you cannot move an inch. Therefore, God has said that a Kohen will be, when he's in the gates, you're supposed to go to him for all of your needs and understandings. Now, what does it mean, cities of refuge we spoke about earlier, the 48 cities?
Right.
Now, they're not all the cities of refuge. 6 cities were meant to be the cities of refuge. Those 6 cities you can read in Numbers chapter 35, and you can read all about it. So basically, today, the way we work, the way we function, because God's dwelling, God's Shekinah is with the Kohanim. So therefore, wherever the Kohanim are, that's where the city of refuge will be. In other words, if I live in Florida, then that's where the city of refuge will be. That's where God's dwelling will be. Therefore, that's why you're supposed to go to the Kohen. So this is not just something we just make up. So therefore, we have the same principle in Israel in the past. We're going to have the same principle in the future, where the Kohen are going to be the people who are going to be instrumentally used to run the third temple. Without the Kohen, there is no third temple. Without the Kohen, there is no king, because a Kohen has to anoint a king of Israel. So if you say Kohen are no longer available,
then there's no
well,
longer
you can never have a king in Israel in the future.
Right.
Forget about your Messiah, forget about your king. You're just living a lie. So Kohen is what kicks the notch up a little bit, and Kohen drives a nation forward. Without a Kohen, there's no delivery.
Indeed.
You can have your cannon, but without the actual fuse, it can't go nowhere. The ball that's going to come out of the can is going to go nowhere.
Right.
Therefore, the Kohen are that fuse. They are the ones that kick up the notch and support that delivery. In other words, when we are going to be restored into the land, you're going to be led by the Kohanim, not by some mumbo jumbo, Messiah in Gentile nation. So we've got to be very careful about that.
And I think that's important what Rabbi Simon just said. And again, he resides in Pensacola, Florida. Now, I mean, the heavens has reasons for that. He's here for a reason. He's not here just to, get a suntan in Florida. That's not why he's here. So he's here for all of you who aspire and desire to go back to the ancient past. He's trying to help you clean up your way so you can see the land. Because contrary to popular belief, everybody that goes, just because you're in the land, that doesn't mean you're going to stay in the land.
Right.
You see, you must be ritually clean and pure and not come in with idolatries. And a lot of folks are coming in with idolatries, Rebbe Simon.
Yeah, they're mixing, Jesus worship and Muhammad worship and Buddha worship and every worship out there. So you're not supposed to do that. Torah is a faith in which you're supposed to let go of all of other idolatries. And so we spoke not to this program but another program about what happened in Ghana with 100 people perishing in an explosion. We were speaking about the principle of judgment by God, what you call a tribulation, sent on the people because they're in idolatry. For idolatry, the tribulation is going to be fire, water, and wind. And that's the occurrence we saw in Ghana. I mean, Ghana is just one example. This could be occurring in almost any other country too, where there's idolatry. So we see that pattern. Unfortunately, it's not nice to see people dying, but that judgment is coming in small measures. Until the judgment will come in big measure, when we're going to be taken back to the land, then it will extensuate. It will then be amplified a lot more.
Right.
So we're kind of like heading towards that period.
Right.
We must be prepared for Torah.
Right, indeed.
Must clean up our act.
So the only thing that's really going to rescue you is the Torah. That's it.
That's right.
You cannot run from it. I don't care if you pack up your group and go to Paris. Yeah. If you're going to Israel, you're not going to run. You can't run away from the judgments of the Most High. The onus on you is to go back and begin to keep Torah, and that will protect you wherever you're at. Doesn't matter where you're at. And so I like to use the example of Exodus, Shemut, Exodus chapter 16, when we talk about manna. Everybody has to physically eat food. You cannot survive without eating food. But just like with that manna, we need our spiritual food as well. And if you notice, every time that the Most High brought the manna down, and the princes of Israel, the call Israel had questions. And who would they go to? They would go to Musa, the Kohen, and get their questions answered because they didn't understand. Well, what is this stuff down here? It looks like UFO. I mean, what is this stuff? What are we supposed to do? So they went to the Kohen. They didn't go directly to the Most High. And a lot of you today, unfortunately, you think you can just bypass the Most High and go directly to the heavens. But as Rebbe Simon has described to you, that's not the pattern, the ancient pattern of our people.
I mean, let's look at the example of the Torah. In Exodus chapter 19, when the Torah was given to call Israel as a people, as a nation, I mean, the Israelites were so fearful and afraid, they said to Moses, you go up to the mountain. We don't want to go.
Right.
You go up. In other words, they couldn't take the voice of the Most High directly. They needed an intermediary.
Right.
That intermediary was Moses.
Right.
So therefore, Moses was the intermediary. Then he made, there's already a Kohen Agadol, Aaron his brother.
Right.
So therefore, Moses went up and got the tablets, and then he came down and wrote the complete Torah with the 613 commandments, because people remember the 10 commandments.
Right.
They forget the other 600 and,
Yeah.
or one, or 2 commandments,
Yeah.
or 3 commandments.
Right.
So the 602 plus the 10,
Yeah.
so they forget is actually 613. Now, somebody had to write those down. Now, Israelites at that point were so fearful because even God said to Moses, be careful that they do not touch the sides of the mountain because they will perish. So therefore they knew that if they made single mistake, that's it. They're going to be zapped. So this is what we're talking about. Whilst Christianity teaches you, yes, okay, just come before God, just wear your shorts and t-shirt and come before God. Well, it's not like that.
Right.
You cannot disobey God, and you cannot treat God like your servant, like you're treating JC.
Right.
He's your servant.
Right.
Come do miracles for me.
Yeah.
So this is a kind of mentality that people are living in.
Understood. So it's very important for you to understand that the Kohen is in the gates now. But I don't know how long he's going to be here, to be honest with you. And I know it's not going to be forever here in Pensacola, Florida. So I think it would behoove all of you to take advantage and really help clean up your act by coming to the Kohen. Because honestly, you cannot be cleaned unless you go through the Kohen. There's no way. There's no way. How are you going to make your petition, your offering done in ignorance, your transgression offering? You can't do it without the Kohen. There's no way.
You can't do your Pidya Ben, you can't do transgression.
How do you clean yourself
There's
up?
Issues of Torah you can't understand. Many issues.
Yeah.
And then you may just go to the Kohen and say, I need you to petition for me to the Most High. I have a problem, then I can't get through, and my prayers are not being heard for some reason. Can you help me? So therefore people come to me and they say to me that, Rabbi Simon, can you help me do that? And I'll say, okay, then I can ask some questions, and then I can direct the prayers to the Shemaim. Like I said, the Most High ear, he has, his ear to us, to our mouth. In other words, when I petition to Him, my petition would be heard first before anybody else's petition.
Right.
Therefore, as I've seen in the past, so I'm going to go with the past to the present. When somebody's asked me for something, and I've gone to the Most High, to the God of Israel, and I've asked for that, that has been given. To give you an example, I can give you several examples. For instance, that there was a certain lady that you know as well, and I know, that was having trouble with getting jobs in America.
Yeah.
So she came and she asked to please, file a petition for me, say a petition for me that I'll get my job sorted out, which I did. And before we know it, this lady was suitably employed. Now there was a man, who was having problems getting a house. There was another lady in America who was having problems getting a house. She asked me to petition. I petitioned for her. Before you know it, she had a 4-bedroom house in America. Same with the man on the other side, who was having problems getting a house. And his wife was renting. His family was renting. He said, Rabbi, can you help me? Because I need a house. I don't want to rent. So several cases like that. This is not just one case. Several cases where I have stood in the gap and I have petitioned for those people to the Most High, and the prayers have been heard. This is not like mamby-pamby Christianity. This is the real deal. This is where the real beef is. So if you want results in your life, you got to go to the Kohen.
So the question is, for all of you Hebrew camps out there, this is a question that I have for all of them, and I always ask them, what's your Kohen's name? If you're called Israel, where's your Kohen? If you don't have no Kohen, then how can you call yourself Israel?
You're wasting your time. You might as well just do anything else that Joe Blogs is doing down the street, because you're really wasting your time. Because you've got to be directed to Torah, to the services, to everything.
Yeah.
Now, for instance, Rebbe Kefa, we're going to celebrate our Shavuot, our festival of Pentecost, according to the Hanukkah calendar, which occurs this Sunday.
Right.
Now, one very interesting thing is going to take place. Now, when we make the dough, when we make the challah bread during that festival, or any other day, like even the Shabbat, you're supposed to take a small portion of the dough and you're supposed to give it to the Kohen.
Right.
If the Kohen is not present, you're supposed to burn it. Now the Jews do that. Now our people don't even know that exists, that law exists.
Right.
Now therefore, what's going to happen this weekend is going to be that instead of burning that dough, the Kohen is here to receive it. Think of the increase that the person will have who will give the dough to the Kohen.
Indeed.
Right?
Indeed.
And this thing hasn't happened, as far as I know, for 2,000 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Hasn't occurred.
Absolutely.
So this will be first in the diaspora that a Kohen will receive, a real, genuine Kohen, not like your make-believe Kohen.
Right.
So we'll
Right.
receive the dough and be able to give a benediction on the person.
Hallelujah. That's a first. It's got to be a first. That's a first.
And 2,000 years, right?
Yes,
My
yes,
goodness.
That's right. We may record it, but we may not put it out.
Right.
But it's going to happen this weekend.
That's
for sure.
definitely history. It definitely will be recorded, but you guys probably won't see it. But I need to record it for my own personal effects, for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
For
that's
sure.
right. So this is something significant because this has real deep meaning behind
My
it.
goodness, but how many groups even know about taking some of that dough and putting it to the side for the Kohen?
They don't know. They don't know. They're not even taught that. They don't even keep the Sabbath. They don't even know about it.
Yeah. Quite sad.
Yeah.
So the importance is to know who your Kohen is and to lean on him, because the Kohen is in your gates. He's here, North America. He's in your gates now. And it's very important. For you to get back to the Most High, you have to go through the door, the gate. This is the door.
And I want to put it this way, that as long as a Kohen is alive, people may think, oh, we're supposed to go to Israel to an altar, where there's a standing temple or something, and present our inadvertent sin offerings there. No. A Kohen can take the transgression offerings wherever he is in the world, and he can perform the transgression offering petition for you wherever he is. Doesn't matter if he's in Timbuktu, he can do it.
Indeed.
So that particular Torah law applies applicable all over the world. It's not locked down to a temple. So a lot of people don't realize that they're carrying a lot of inadvertent transgressions, ignorant transgressions, and they are burdened down by that, and they can't get off the ground, and they wonder, what's going on? Why can't I get somewhere? Why am I having all these problems? When they don't realize that God sends the tribulations upon them, and they can't understand, and they continuously struggle, Whilst it only is that the transgression needs to be removed through a Kohen, which they don't understand.
Right.
Now, we were talking a case in point. We talked about American soldiers, American military fighting wars in the Middle East or in Afghanistan. And we spoke about the drone, strikes to people who are allegedly terrorists.
Yeah.
And so we spoke that what happens to those people is that they come back all messed up because they have shed blood. So when you shed blood, you have to give a guilt offering. Now we know the Abraham story, that when Abraham went to fight the kings that took away his nephew Lot, and he went to fight these 5 kings in Sodom and other places next to Damascus. Then he came back to give a guilt offering to the priest, to the Kohen in that gate at that point, which was Shem. So a lot of people don't have that understanding. So what we are getting instead, because these people that go out, the Goyim, the Gentiles that go out, fight wars, and then what happens when they come back, they're all messed up because they haven't done the proper offering, and they're not privy to it. So therefore, if you have been involved in bloodshed in a war, and you must have killed people, shot them down in warfare or whatever, in terms of a nation-to-nation war, therefore, you're supposed to do that. If you don't do that, you're carrying innocent blood. Even though you might think, oh, I shot him because he was a soldier, you're still carrying innocent blood. So the ground, the blood cries out from the ground to Hashem for justice. So therefore, this is something that people don't realize, and this is why a lot of our people's lives are messed around, because lack of understanding, ignorance.
Right.
A Kohen is supposed to bring clarity, understanding, and direction into your lives. That is what the Most High brought me here for, and so it's up to Him, how long He keeps me here, but that's what I'm here for now.
That's great to talk about the offerings and everything, but unfortunately a lot of folks don't even tithe, much less deal with these offerings, the guilt offering, the transgression offering, the elevation offering, shalom offering.
Right.
We can't even get them to tithe to the
Right.
Kohen.
Right.
So this is what happens, and this is why a lot of you find yourselves in the particular situations that you're in. There's no increase, there's no shalom in your home, you're having trouble with the wife, the children are wearing their pants down to their ankles. There's just no control,
Right. Because what these people don't realize is that we're not here just to ask offerings. We're giving them direction of their lives.
Right.
But what they don't also realize, Rebbe Kefa, is that I came from a 6-figure salary job.
Yeah.
I'm not a beggar, I'm not
Right.
going to ask people to give me money.
Right.
So if you don't give to the Most High, then the recompense is upon you.
Indeed.
He will deal with you directly. So He'll feed me, He
course.
has plenty of food in my fridge,
Indeed.
so it don't matter to me. But the thing is this, that you're doing it for your benefit, not for my benefit.
Right.
I'm here for your benefit. So my role over here is to serve Israel, the people of Israel, wherever they are in the diaspora. My role is not to, to build my bank balance and my coffers up, because my coffers will be built by the Most High directly.
Indeed.
So, history is witness of that. I don't need to go to people to ask, but they need, Kol Yisrael needs to understand that you have to come to the Kohen when the Kohen is in your midst, and then he can help you. He's for you, he's not for his personal benefit. And that, unfortunately, this is not, John Hagee in San Antonio,
Yeah.
Building 53 acres for himself.
Indeed.
I'm not here to build my acres.
He's not Creflo Dollar trying to get
Right.
a jet, another jet. This is not what it's
This
about.
is not what it's about, no.
The benefit is for you, Israel. You see, but a lot of you don't understand, and this is why you're really getting measure for the heavens. You're not putting into the heavens, you're not going to get from the heavens.
Right,
That's just what it is. Measure for measure.
absolutely.
So I think on that note, we can wrap it up, right?
Yes,
Mr.
we
Simon?
can.
So
Yes.
he's here in America. I would encourage all of you to go to our website, african-israel.com or israelfound.com, and you can send them an email. Any question that you may have in dealing with your Hebrew way, your Hebrew walk, if you're struggling in some areas, I'd encourage you to do so. You can phone me. My address is and my phone number is on the website as well, so you can phone in and you can get yourselves cleaned up. Because believe me, in this latter age, Hokman's telling us to clean our houses up.
Right.
If you haven't got that memo, then you really need to phone in.
And also every Shabbat we have a Pal Talk service, which virtually can be done from your bedroom, from your living room every week. So you can get the understanding of Torah right where you are. So it would be helpful like
Indeed.
that too.
Indeed, no excuses. And you see, that's what the Kohen does. He comes in and he takes out all of the ignorance factor is taken away. You can't go to the Most High and say you were ignorant. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know. Nobody told me. The ignorance factor is being taken out in this latter age, and you must go back and begin to walk in the ancient paths. And the ancient paths is right before you. Rebbe Simon out of the HaKohen from the house of Zadok. You need to line yourselves up. And on that note, I'll leave you in shalom. And Todah Rabbah for listening in, and welcome Rebbe Simon to San Antonio as we celebrate the feast. And shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.